Hello everyone, I'm Megris Catladera and we are the discussant of Lesson 4 Constructivist Theory in Teaching Social Studies. Constructivism has become the parlance of educators, teachers, education policymakers, and curriculum specialists for the last 3 decades. Change the landscape of classroom instructions was so prominent that many practitioners overuse and misuse it. Is it a theory of learning that has roots in both philosophy and psychology? The basic tenets of constructivism. First, knowledge is not passively accumulated, but rather is the result of active cognizing by the individual. Second, cognition is an adaptive process that functions to make an individual's behavior more viable given a particular environment. Third, cognition organizes and makes sense of one's experience and is not a process to render an accurate representation of reality. And the last one is knowing has roots in both biological and neurological construction and social, cultural, and language-based interaction. These four fundamental tenets provide the foundation for the basic principles of the teaching, learning, and knowing process as described by constructivism. In the modern period, more specifically in the field of psychology, the idea of cognitive construction was first fashioned into a comprehensive theory by James Mark Baldwin (1861 to 1934) and Jean Piaget (1896 to 1980). They were able to map the procedures and operation on the construction of a stable experiential world, having access on only to sensation and to the operation of the mind. For us to better understand the concept of constructivism, let us examine the various schools of thought under this paradigm.
Types of constructivism. First, cognitive constructivism. Second, social constructivism. Third, radical constructivism. Cognitive constructivism, typically associated with information processing and relies heavily on the component process of cognition, emphasizes that order to acquire knowledge, an individual has an active role in cognizing any stimuli that form part of their experience. Knowledge is a result of accurate internationalization, construction and reconstruction of external reality. These procedures are what we call learning. A. The perspective of learning focuses on the process of learning. B. How experiences are represented or symbolized in the mind. C. How representation are organized within the mind. Constructive constructivism contributed significantly to empirical findings regarding learning. Memory and cognition includes schema theory, working memory models of learning and memory, and neurological models of brain function. Successfully instructional application. First, use an advanced organizer in concept maps. Second, teaching for transfer. Third, elaborate practice. Fourth, teaching for automacit. 5. Using reading strategies. And 6. Problem solving.
Radical constructivism believes that the acquisition of knowledge is an adaptive practice that could be attributed from the active cognition of an individual translating an experientially based mind. Also, radical constructivism is an internal nature of knowledge and recognizes the existence of an external reality. It said that knowledge is constructed from the experience, but the way it is constructed is not an accurate representation of the external world or reality. Next is social constructivism. It's said that social constructivism is a school of thought that lies between the transmission of the knowable reality of the cognitive constructivist and the construction of a personal reality of the radical constructivist. Social constructivism upholds the social nature of knowledge and that knowledge is the result of social interaction and language usage, and thus is a shared rather than an individual experience. Moreover, social interaction occurs within a sociocultural context, resulting in knowledge that is bound to a specific time and place. Bakhtin, 1984, explained this position by saying that truth is not to be found inside the head of an individual person. It is born between people collectively searching for truth in the process of dialogic interaction. Thus, truth is considered not an objective reality as espoused by cognitive constructivists, nor experiential reality as argued by radical constructivists, but rather a socially constructed truth which evolved from co-participation in cultural practices.
Constructivist pedagogy. There were identified 8 factors that are essential in constructivist pedagogy. The first one is authentic and real-world environment are necessary for learning to take place. According to the authentic learning creator and guru Steve Rivington, authentic learning is real-life learning. It is a style of learning that encourages students to create a tangible, useful products to be shared with their world. Not only are we teachers bringing in real-world context to our classrooms, but our students are taking real-world issues and problems and working to solve them and developing a solution applicable to the world or community around them. The second one is social negotiate and mediation should be taken into account in any form of learning. Social interaction is a vital element of learning for it provides socially relevant skills and knowledge. In the age of globalization and cultural heterogeneity, learners should be exposed to various opportunities of interactions in order for them to develop the necessary knowledge skills and values such as tolerance, social adaptation, flexibility, peaceful consistence, and collaboration, among others. Language is an integral part of social mediation since it is the medium through which knowledge and understanding are constructed in social situations. Third one is content and skills are made significant to the learners. Regardless of types, constructivism emphasizes the importance of knowledge since it serves an adaptive function. Knowledge could enhance one's adaptation and functioning, thus it is necessary to the individual current condition and even goals. Next one is learners' prior knowledge is fundamental in the acquisition of content and skills. All learners begins within an individual's schema or prior knowledge. This simple yet profound statement can unreveal learning possibilities for it allows us to examine the personal history. The fifth one is formative assessment should be done to inform future learning experience. Constructivism asserts that knowledge acquisition and understanding is an active and ongoing process that is heavily impacted by the student's prior knowledge and experience. Suddenly, knowledge and understanding are not directly visible but rather must be inferred from action. Thus, in order to account a learner's level of understanding, this ongoing teaching and learning process, a teacher must continually assess the individual's knowledge. The sixth one is constructivism encourages learners to become self-regulated, self-meditate, and self-aware. One of the basic tenets of a constructivism is the idea that individuals are active in knowledge and meaning constructions, the construction and reconstruction. This cognitive exercise requires individuals to account a learner's level of understanding in this. And number 7, teachers should act as guide and facilitators of learning. The teacher's role plays a major part in students' learning. In the cognitive constructivist perspective, teachers create experiences where students participate, leading them to knowledge processing and acquisition. Those teachers are seen as the guide on the side instead of the sage on the stage. On the other hand, social and radical constructivism supports the idea that the teacher is to guide students to an awareness of their experience and socially agreed upon meaning. This metaphor indicates that the teacher is to motivate, provide example, discuss, facilitate, support, and challenge learners in order to realize optimum learning. Number 8. Teachers must employ multiple perspectives and representations of content. If learners are provided multiple perspectives or lenses in examining a particular phenomenon or event, he or she can have the raw materials necessary to create and develop varied representation. This in turn allows him or her various routes from which to retrieve knowledge, which in the long run develops his or her capacity to use more complex